In the small, dusty village of Amee, where red sand colored the pathways and hunger lingered in many homes, lived a young girl named Glory. At just 22, her eyes seemed to carry the weight of 100 lifetimes. Since her mother passed away 5 years ago, she had known nothing but turmoil. Her father, Mr. Thomas, had once been a kind farmer, but now he was a cruel drunkard. To make matters worse, he married a harsh woman, Mrs. Grace, who despised Glory. They forced her to cook, gather firewood, clean the compound, and work on the farm from dawn to dusk, all while going to bed hungry. The villagers pitied her, but no one dared to stand up to Mr. Thomas. Then came Harrison, a young man from the city. His clothes were worn, and his shoes had holes, but his eyes were sharp. He had been working on Mr. Thomas' farm for 3 months, clearing bushes, planting cassava, and carrying heavy loads. But after all his labor, Mr. Thomas refused to pay him. "Come back next week, I'll pay you then," he kept saying, but no payment ever came. One scorching afternoon, Harrison returned to the house, tired and frustrated. "Sir, I need my money today," he said. Mr. Thomas scratched his head and eyed Glory, who was sweeping the compound with a weary expression. He then gave a wicked laugh. "You want money?" he asked. "Take that girl instead." Harrison was confused. "Take who?" he asked. "My daughter. She's useless. Take her with you to the city." "That's your payment," Mr. Thomas said, pointing at Glory. Her heart sank as she dropped the broom and gazed at her father. "Daddy, please," she pleaded. "Shut up," he shouted. "You should be happy someone wants you." Mrs. Grace folded her arms and smiled. "Let her go. One less mouth to feed." Glory fell to her knees, crying and begging, but no one listened. Harrison looked at her, broken but still beautiful, not just in appearance, but in spirit. "She's beautiful," he whispered. "What did you say?" Mr. Thomas asked. "I'll take her," Harrison replied. And just like that, Glory's life changed forever. She packed her belongings into a black plastic bag, her heart heavy with sorrow. No one hugged her. No one prayed for her. Her little brother, Sam, stood behind the house, tears streaming down his face as he waved goodbye. Glory followed Harrison to the city. The journey was long, passing through towns, trees, and dusty roads. Glory sat by the window, lost in thought. She had just left the only home she knew, even though it was filled with pain. She didn't know what the future held, but inside, she prayed silently. "Lord, please don't let this man be wicked like my father. Please give me peace. I'm so tired." Harrison was quiet during the ride, occasionally glancing at her, his expression thoughtful. She looked so fragile, like someone who had carried too much pain. Finally, they reached the city, where everything seemed different. Tall buildings, cars with shining lights, people rushing by, and a constant noise. Glory gripped her bag tightly, trying not to look overwhelmed. She had never been to the city before. They took a small tricycle down a quiet street and stopped in front of a large black gate. Harrison knocked, and a few moments later, the gate creaked open. Glory gasped, her mouth open in awe. The compound was spacious and well kept. The main house was painted white and resembled something out of a movie. There were flowers lining the walkway, and even a small fountain in the corner. They passed the main house and reached a modest building at the back, the boys' quarters. Harrison smiled. "This is where I live. The owner of the house is kind. She gave me this place to stay for free." Glory looked around. It was simple but peaceful. "I got a job as a security guard," Harrison continued. "I'm responsible for keeping the compound safe. The owner lives in the main house with her son." Glory felt a sense of calm. The place was better than she could have imagined, a far cry from the mat she used to sleep on at her father's house. For the first time in years, she felt peace settle in her heart. "If this is God's plan for me, then so be it," she said quietly. 2 days later, Glory woke up to the smell of food in the small kitchen. The morning sun gently bathed the room in light, and for the first time in ages, she felt calm and at ease. She stretched, feeling rested, and walked into the kitchen to find Harrison cooking. "Good morning," he greeted her with a smile. "Morning," she replied softly. "I slept well." After breakfast, Harrison told her to get dressed. "I want you to meet someone," he said. Curious, Glory followed him to the main house, where the door opened to reveal Mrs. Walker, a graceful woman in her late 50s. "Good morning, Ma," Harrison greeted her. Mrs. Walker turned to Glory, smiling warmly. "So, this is the beautiful young lady you spoke of," she said. "Come in, my dear." Glory stepped inside, wide-eyed. The living room was pristine, filled with elegant furniture. Mrs. Walker took her hand. "I like you already," she said kindly. "You have a sweet spirit. You're welcome here." Glory smiled shyly. "Thank you, Ma." After a brief conversation, they returned to the boys' quarters. That evening, as Glory was cleaning, she turned to Harrison. "Can I tell you something?" she asked gently. "Of course," he replied. Glory took a deep breath. "When my father sent me away to follow you, I felt like I was being thrown away, like I didn't matter to anyone. But when I came here, I thought you might treat me badly, like my father did. But you didn't. You gave me peace, respect, and space. I want to thank you. I don't regret coming here anymore. I believe this is God's plan for me." Harrison sat beside her, holding her hand gently. "I would never hurt you, Glory. You're not just a woman to me. You're everything. I liked you from the first moment I saw you, but I was too scared to approach you. When your father offered you in exchange for payment, I was shocked, but deep down, I was relieved. It felt like an opportunity." Glory smiled softly. "I'm not in love with you yet, but I like how you treat me. You make me feel important." Harrison smiled back. "You are important, Glory. You're a queen." In the weeks that followed, Glory began to find her confidence. She worked in the kitchen, trying out new recipes, and keeping a small notebook of meals Harrison had suggested. Her life was slowly improving, and for the first time, she felt she could dream. One day, Mrs. Walker called Glory into the kitchen. "I've been watching you closely," she said. "You're hard-working, humble, and a great cook. My regular cook is gone, and I need someone I can trust. I'd like you to take her place." Glory was overwhelmed. "Ma, thank you so much. I don't know what to say." "I believe you're the right person," Mrs. Walker said with a warm smile. "You deserve it." Later, Glory told Harrison, her voice filled with excitement. "Mrs. Walker wants me to be her new cook, and she'll be paying me." Harrison smiled proudly. "That's my wife." But even as her life seemed to be improving, things were not without complications. Mrs. Walker's son, Daniel, made his presence known in ways that made Glory uneasy. She did her best to ignore his advances, but his words and looks left her feeling unsettled. Harrison assured her that Daniel was harmless, but Glory couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. She looked at him, her tears quietly building up. "Daniel came to me again," she said, her voice soft. "This time he promised me so much: school abroad, money, clothes, a new life. But only if I agreed to be his." Harrison stood up slowly, his fists clenched in anger. "He said he can pay you off or get your mother to fire you, just to have you for himself," he muttered, his eyes dark with fury. Glory nodded, her voice steady yet filled with pain. I told him no. I told him I wasn't interested. I believe in you. In us. I know that one day, God will bless you. Touched by her words, Harrison softened. He pulled her close, holding her tightly. Thank you, Glory. Thank you for standing by me, he whispered. She smiled, wiping a tear from her cheek. You stood by me first. Now it's my turn, she replied. That night, they prayed together before sleeping. The next day, Glory woke up early, but her heart felt heavy. She was tired of pretending, tired of smiling when deep down she felt uneasy. Daniel's words echoed in her mind, refusing to fade away. She had tried to ignore him, tried to keep it inside, but she had reached her limit. Without a second thought, she walked straight to the main house and knocked softly on the door. Mrs. Walker opened it, greeting her with a smile. Glory, my daughter. Good morning. I hope you slept well, she said. Good morning, Ma, Glory answered, looking down. Mrs. Walker noticed something was off. What's wrong, Glory? You don't look well. Glory took a deep breath. Ma, I came to talk to you. Please, don't be angry. Mrs. Walker invited her in. Of course not, my dear. Talk to me. It's about your son, Daniel, Glory began, her voice calm but serious. Mrs. Walker looked surprised. Daniel? What about him? He's been bothering me, Glory said. He's been promising me money, telling me to leave Harrison and be with him. He said he'd send me abroad and give me a better life if I agreed. Her voice shook slightly. He even said he'd pay Harrison off or get him fired just so he could have me. Mrs. Walker sat back, folding her arms. After a long pause, she spoke softly. Glory, you're a beautiful and wise girl. You deserve better in life. Maybe my son just sees your potential. Maybe you should give him a chance. Glory's eyes widened. Ma! Mrs. Walker continued, her tone serious now. I'm not saying you should leave your husband, but think about it. We can give you everything you want, education, comfort. Even Harrison will benefit. We can pay him off to walk away. This is a good opportunity for you. Glory stood up slowly, her hand trembling but her voice firm. With all due respect, Ma, I'm not that kind of woman. I didn't marry Harrison for money. I married him because when the world turned its back on me, he stood by me. When my own father abandoned me, he gave me dignity. Her voice wavered as tears filled her eyes, but she continued. Ma, I'd rather quit this job than betray my husband. I will never leave him. Never. Mrs. Walker opened her mouth to speak, but Glory raised her hand gently. I'm sorry, Ma, but I'm done here. If your son doesn't stop all of this, we'll leave this house. I won't stay where I'm disrespected. With that, she turned and walked out, wiping away her tears as she made her way back to the boys' quarters. As Glory entered the room, she froze in shock. On the small table in the corner of the room, there was a large pile of money, bundles of it. Her mouth dropped open. Harrison, what's going on? Where did you get this money? Harrison stood up slowly, calm and quiet. He looked at her with soft eyes. My love, he said gently. Come, sit down. She walked over, still staring at the money. Talk to me, Harrison. What is all this? He smiled. This money. I've been saving it for a long time. Little by little. I plan to use it to start my business. It's been my dream since I came to this city. He paused for a moment, then continued. But today, when I saw the kind of woman you are, When I saw how you defended me, rejecting wealth and choosing love, I realized you deserve better. Glory looked at him, still confused. But, what does this have to do with me? Harrison pointed at the money again. I want you to use it for your education. I know how much you want to go to university. You've talked about it every time. It's your dream, so take it. Go to school. I'll be fine. Glory was speechless. She stared at the money, then at him. No, she said softly, shaking her head. I can't. I'm serious, Glory, Harrison insisted. And I'm serious too, she replied, standing up. No, Harrison. Never. Harrison was shocked. Why? Glory's voice was full of passion now. This is your dream, Harrison. You saved this money with your sweat and hard work. You wanted to start a business, and now you want to throw it away because of me. She wiped a tear from her cheek, her voice firm. I love you. And because I love you, I want us to use this money wisely. Let's rent a small room outside this compound. Let's start a business together. You can run it, and I'll help you. When it starts growing, I'll go to school, one step at a time. Harrison stared at her, stunned. You want us to leave this house? Yes, Glory said firmly. I don't want to stay here anymore. Not with your boss and her son treating us like we're nothing. We deserve peace, even if it's small. Let it be ours. A shop, a rented room, a new start. That's what I want. Harrison walked to her and took her hand slowly, shaking his head in awe. Glory, you are not just beautiful. You are wise. You are special. You are everything I prayed for. She smiled through her tears. And you are the only man I want. He pulled her close, his eyes full of emotion. Thank you for standing by me. I will always stand by you, she whispered, and then they kissed, a kiss full of real love, not for money, not for pressure, but because of trust, unity, and the deep bond they shared. That night, they lay in each other's arms, not talking much, just enjoying the peace and soft laughter between them. The moonlight shone through the window, and Glory whispered, Our better days are coming. Harrison answered, Yes, my queen. Step by step, we will get there together. The next day, Harrison was not home. Glory woke up early, cleaned the room, and swept everywhere. But her heart still felt heavy from the conversation with Mrs. Walker the day before. She kept thinking about everything, Daniel's behavior, Mrs. Walker's offer, and her own bold decision to walk away. When she sat down to rest, there was a knock on the door. She opened it and was surprised to find Mrs. Walker and Daniel standing there. Good morning, my daughter, Mrs. Walker said gently. Please, Glory, we came to apologize. Daniel added, his face serious. I was foolish. I allowed pride and bad behavior to blind me. But now I see clearly. Harrison is lucky. You're a real wife. Mrs. Walker nodded. Yes, he's very lucky to have someone like you. You are special. Rare women like you are not easy to find. Glory softened. She sat quietly, listening. We called you our wife yesterday, Mrs. Walker continued with a gentle smile. And we meant it. You are our wife. Glory gave a small smile. Thank you, Ma. I'm not angry anymore. I forgive you. Mrs. Walker smiled, then said something strange. You are my son's wife. Glory frowned. Your son. Don't worry, dear, Mrs. Walker said kindly. You'll understand soon. After a few more minutes, they stood up, hugged her, and left. Glory stood by the door, confused, wondering what they meant. Later that evening, Harrison returned home, looking tired but happy. Glory turned sharply, asking, "Where have you been?" "I've been waiting for you, my love." He smiled softly. "There's something I need to tell you." Glory folded her arms, her curiosity piqued. "What now?" Harrison held her hands and looked into her eyes. "Glory, I'm sorry." She raised an eyebrow. "Sorry for what?" He took a deep breath, then said gently, "Daniel is not just the landlady's son. He's my younger brother. And Mrs. Walker, she's not my boss. She's my mother." Glory gasped. "What? Harrison?" He nodded. "I'm so sorry, Glory. I didn't mean to lie for long. I just needed to know if someone could love me for me, not for my money or my background. I've been hurt too many times before. Women pretended to love me for my wealth, but when I refused to spoil them, they left." Glory sat down, still in shock. "You went too far, Harrison. You shouldn't have done that." "I know, my love," he said quietly. "You have every right to be angry. Please forgive me." There was a long silence, then Glory smiled teasingly. "Okay, fine. I forgive you. But you owe me." He laughed. "What do I owe you?" "You owe me a car and a mansion for lying to me," she teased. Harrison threw his head back in laughter. "That's nothing, my queen. Consider it done." Glory laughed too and jumped into his arms. "I love you so much, Harrison." "And I love you even more," he replied, hugging her tightly. They kissed deeply, full of love and relief. The truth was out, and there were no more secrets, no more pretending. The news spread quickly. Harrison, the poor security man, was actually a billionaire. When Glory's father heard the news, he almost choked on his palm wine. His eyes widened in shock, and he quickly picked up his phone to call her. "My daughter, please forgive me," he said humbly. "I was blind. I didn't know God had blessed you like this." Glory was silent. "I want your sister to come stay with you in the city. Things are tough here." Glory sighed. "With all due respect, sir, never. I forgive you, but I want to stay far away from you and your wicked wife. I'm at peace now. I've suffered too much under your roof." Her voice became sharper. "If you ever need help with something important, you can call me. But please don't call me for nonsense. And take good care of your miserable wife." She hung up the phone and looked up, whispering, "Thank you, Jesus, for bringing Harrison into my life." Years later, Glory wore her white coat as she walked across the graduation stage. She was now a qualified medical doctor. Harrison was the loudest in the crowd, cheering, "That's my wife. Come here, you beautiful big woman." After the ceremony, he hugged her tightly. "I'm so proud of you, baby. You are mine forever." She smiled. "Thank you for believing in me." "Thank you for everything, honey," she said, hugging him. "You are the world's best husband." He smiled. "And you are my forever queen." One peaceful afternoon, Harrison took Glory on a quiet drive. They arrived at a big estate and stopped in front of a huge white mansion with golden gates. Glory looked around, puzzled. "Why are we here?" Harrison smiled, pulling out a bunch of keys. "This is your mansion, my queen." Glory screamed, "Harrison, stop playing." "I'm serious," he replied. "I promised you a car and a mansion, and here they are." She hugged him, laughing and crying at the same time. "I also have good news," she said, stepping back. "What is it?" he asked, smiling. "I went for a test last week. I'm 3 months pregnant." Harrison froze. Then he shouted, "Glory, are you serious?" Yes, she laughed. We're going to have a baby. He lifted her off the ground and spun her around joyfully. God, thank you. I'll spoil you and our baby forever. He knelt down and kissed her stomach. My baby, Daddy loves you already. Glory smiled through her tears. From being rejected to becoming royalty, she whispered, Truly, my name is Glory.